Hello students, welcome to this video tutorial on hashtag number of the day. So in this video tutorial, we're going to focus on these middle sections here: standard form, expanded form, exponential form, and written form. Okay, so this was taught in grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. So hopefully you remember some of this. All right, let's break it down. Okay, let's begin. So the number I'm going to give you is going to be provided in standard form. Okay, so we're going to start with this number. I just want you to copy it down here. So you can see that I've incorporated the number of the day, 12, and I've just used a combination of these two digits to come up with a larger number. Okay, so whenever we see a number, this is also called number form. So whenever we see a number in number form, that's also called standard form. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if you remember expanded form. So when expanded form, expanded means to make very much larger. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to focus on the first digit here. So the first digit is a 1. Okay? So 1 is in what column? So let's go to the decimal. Okay? The first place value column to the left of the decimal is the ones column. Then the tens, then the hundreds, then the thousands, and then the 10,000s. So the 1 is in the 10,000s column. So we have to write 1 times 10,000. Okay? All right, let's look at the next digit. So the next digit is a 2. So what place value column is the 2 in? Well, let's count again. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So I'm going to do this one in blue. So it's going to be 2 because it's the digit 2 times 1,000. The 2 is in the thousands column. Okay? All right, so the next color I'm going to use is green. So what place value column is this 1 in? Well, we have the ones, tens, hundreds. So we have 1 in the hundreds column. Okay? All right, next color. I'll use orange. So how about this digit 2? 2 is in what column? Well, it's in the tens column. The digit is 2, and it's in the tens column. Okay? All right, let's use purple. So this 1. This 1 is in the ones column. So I have a 1 in the ones column. Okay? All right, so now get into some tricky numbers here. So how about this 2? This 2 is in the tenths column. So 2 times a tenth, which is 0.1. Now in previous years, you might have written it as 1/10, which is fine. Okay? I'm just showing you that these two numbers are essentially the same. 0.1 is the same as writing 1/10. Okay? All right, let's see. What other number can I choose? How about this light green here? All right, so the next one is in we have the tenths, the hundredths column. So how about I drop down here? So we have a 1 in the hundredths column, which is 0.01, or if you were to write it as a fraction, the 100ths column. Okay? All right, I need one more color. So let me choose a different type of blue here. Let me choose this bright blue. All right, so finally, I have this last 2. So what place value column is that? We have the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I have a 2 in the thousandths column. So to write thousandths as a decimal, it's 0.001, or if I were to write it as a fraction, it's 1 over 1,000. Now the one thing you have to remember to do, and go back and do, is you have to write a plus sign between all of these breakdown of numbers. Okay? So don't forget to add your plus signs between all of these numbers. So that is expanded form. It takes a long time. You need a lot of space. That's why it's called expanded form. All right, so if we go into the next section, exponential form, if you understand expanded form, then exponential form is not that big a deal. Okay, so we're going to use the same number up here, okay? And we're going to look at expanded form. So the first digit was a 1. So it kind of starts off the same. We're going to go 1 times 10. Okay, it's always going to start with something times 10. The exponential form refers to this number here. So 10 to what exponent equals 10,000? Well, an easy way to figure this out is we count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 times 10,000 can actually be rewritten as 1 times 10 to the 4. The 4 we get by counting the number of zeros. Okay? All right, don't forget your plus sign. So if we go to the next digit, it's 2. So we're going to start with 2 times 10. Okay? So exponential form actually refers to powers of 10. This is also called powers of 10 form. Okay, so we have 1,000. How many zeros are in 1,000? Well, we have 1, 2, 3. So 10 to the power of 3 is 10,000. All right, let's look at the next set of numbers. We have plus 1 times 10, and the number we're trying to make is 100. Well, how many zeros are in 100? Well, there are 2, so that determines the exponent. Okay? All right, the next one, plus, we have 2 times 10. Well, 2 times 10. Well, how many zeros are in 10? Well, there's only 1 0. Okay, so we have to put this exponent here, even though it means the same thing. 2 times 10 is the same as 2 times 10 to the power of 1. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next number. We have 1 times 10. Well, the problem is the place value is the ones column. So how many zeros are in 1? Exactly. There are 0 zeros. So this exponent is 0. I know it looks funny, but it's correct. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next digit. The next digit was a 2. Now we're getting into decimals, okay? But it starts off the same. Something times 10. All right. Now, because the 10 is the denominator of the fraction, this exponent is actually going to be negative 1. Okay? The tens column, the exponent is going to be negative 1. Okay, let's go to the next number. How about I drop down so it looks consistent? So we have again 1 times 10. Okay? And because the 1 is in the hundredths column, it's going to be negative 2. Okay? There are 2 zeros in the denominator. That's where you get the 2. And because it's in the denominator, it's going to be negative. All right, and the last digit, plus 2 times 10. And then what exponent should we have? Well, we have 3 zeros in 1,000. But because it's a decimal, it's going to be negative 3. Okay? So this takes a little bit of getting used to, but hopefully you have some experience from the past. All right, let's go into the last one. So written form. Well, written form, it's very important that you know how to say the number. So written form is exactly what it is. You're writing out how you would say the number. Okay, so let's start with this, okay? We've got 12,000. So that's what we're going to start with. Okay, so let's write it out. So we have 12,000. Okay, now how would I say this part right here? Well, this part's pretty easy. 12,000, and then we would just say this 121. So let's write that out all in words. 100 21. Okay? All right, so that part's very straightforward. So here's where it gets tricky. So we have a decimal place. So you don't have to write it in capitals, but I want to remind you that whenever we see the word and in written form, it means decimal. So you notice how I didn't write and in any of this part over here. I didn't say 12,000 and 121. Okay, you can't write that. It has to be 12,121 And the trick to reading numbers after the decimal is you simply ignore the decimal and you read this number. So if I were to just read this as a whole number, this would be 212, wouldn't it? So let's write this out. 212. Now, it's not a whole number, so there's one thing we need to add to the end. So let's look at the last digit. The last digit is in the tenths, hundredths, thousands column. So we have to put the word thousands at the end of this. So I'm going to put thousands, and I want to make sure I spell it right. Okay, don't forget the THS. Okay? So the proper way to read this number is 12,121 and 212 thousandths. So I hope you remember that very important skill from the previous years. Okay, so this concludes this video tutorial on hashtag number of the day. Thanks for watching. Bye.